I want to share with you why I love the Gospel of John. Before I started my journey into studying the Bible, I had a hard time relating with Jesus or finding out why he was important to me. I felt that I did things more out of tradition and cultural more than anything. I didn't really have much problems with God though. So I really wanted to read the Bible because I wanted to get to know God more. So naturally, I spent a lot of time in the Old Testament. I love the Old Testament. I'm learning Hebrew. It's just so fulfilling for me. But then I joined a Bible study and they were finishing up Matthew, and I was telling them that I was reading things in order. And to make a long story short, they said, well, eventually you're going to have to get to the gospel. So I said, okay, let me take a little break. And then one night, I decided that I was going to read John. And I decided to read John because I was listening to a message from a pastor out of New Mexico. His name is Skip Heitzig. Highly recommend him. He said that his father-in-law got transformed from being an atheist to being a believer after reading the book of John. So, not that I was an atheist or anything. To the contrary, I wasn't. I love God. But I didn't have that connection to Jesus. So I said, well, if there's going to be a book that's going to somehow change my mind or help me get closer to Jesus, it's got to be John. So I picked up the book, and that night, I think it took me like an hour and a half, not very long, I read John. And John sure mentioned a lot of the things that he did, but it was coming from a different angle. As I read through the pages, I started to see that a lot of the things that were happening in the Old Testament were hinting at somebody. All signs were pointing in one direction. And as I went page by page, I couldn't help myself, but I was just completely falling in love with Jesus and understanding his impact on my life. And I wanted to share with you the last line, or one of the last lines before Jesus restores Peter, but it sums it all up and it's fantastic. It says, "And truly, Jesus did many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have